Welcome to the Clean Truth, where we like to call bullshit on the status quo.
What's up? Welcome back to the Clean Truth. I'm Don. Son of a bitch, it feels like haven't done one of these in like a month.
It's been a month.
Feels good, though.
Yeah, it's good to be back. We have a special guest today. The one lady that we always thank at the beginning of every episode, who keeps us running around like spider monkeys in here, Miss Brett Bauer.
I
Is
try.
that how I say that? Bauer.
Wow, I'm impressed. You know, I go by Bauer, but legally it's Bauer-Schmidt, yeah.
Bravo, Don.
Yeah,
My attention to detail is stellar.
Love it.
yeah.
We've been talking about having you come here and do a podcast for
A few months
ever.
I know.
And our,
Over a year.
Our national convention for Clean Eatz is in 2 days. So Brett's here to help out with that, and we were like, we're not missing this opportunity. So I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know what we're going to say, but I guarantee you it's going to be interesting. Because the sense of humor between the four of us sitting in here is
This could be fun.
pretty offensive, probably.
Oh my gosh. You know what? If it's not offensive, then I'm not having fun. I came here to make it awkward. That's my biggest talent.
I don't even know if we needed you to do it.
I think Don can handle that one.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing.
Well, thank you for coming here.
Thanks for having me.
We usually do a weekly ball busting at the beginning of every episode. I'm going to let you do it. You get to bust anybody balls in this room that you want to for
She's
anything.
She's been to a lot of our locations, so
Oh my gosh. Well,
Usually it's Ben. Ben takes the brunt of it. Sometimes,
which she did like within the first 2 seconds of being inside the office. So
sometimes it's me. Sometimes it's Scott. Who knows?
Oh my gosh. I was easy on you too. I heard that you had great fashion, and you like to wear jeggings. Is that what they call them? Or joggers?
She does have good fashion.
joggers.
She does have great fashion, let me tell you. So do you and your wife share pants or no?
No, she
No.
got a bigger butt than me. So I'm just kidding.
You're going down for that one.
So then how do you usually do the ball busting at each episode?
I don't know. We just make fun of somebody for something. It's kind of fun. Lightens the mood.
Yeah. So just a typical
Yeah.
afternoon.
I mean, I think you just got him
Pretty much.
talking about his jeggings.
Oh, and there's more. Don't worry.
Why?
Wait till the end of the week. Then
I
I'll
hope
have a
that I'm
bunch.
not the only topic of conversation when you go to visit our cafes. I hope like Don gets involved in that conversation a little bit too.
Just a little bit.
Okay, good.
Yeah, don't worry, he's not left out.
I'm going to make sure these stories aren't all about me
Yeah.
and our franchisees.
Listen, I feel like busting somebody's balls is kind of like street fighting. You can't dish an ass whipping out if you've never taken one. So
Good point.
I feel like if you're going to bust somebody's balls, you got to be able to take it.
No doubt.
You can't dish it out and not take it.
And plus, too, my closest friends bust my balls all the time. And if you're not busting my balls, I really feel unloved. As weird as that sounds. So
It's kind of how I am. Like if you come in here and you're new, you better have some thick skin quickly
No doubt.
with this group.
When we see an opportunity to get on Don's side, I think like Scott and I kind of like look at each other and we're like, "Oh, this is the day we get."
It's like strike.
We
Strike.
get an opportunity. Go. We all gang up together and we go after Don.
What do you want to talk about, Brett? You want to talk about? Well, first of all, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Well, so I work for Monster Energy. Work for the health and fitness department. So I cover the East Coast. So I do all the gyms, gym chains, Clean Eats. I've been in the industry I started on the business side in 2008, working in sports supplements. So I've been doing that. And I was out in LA for 13 years doing that. So my background's in TV, though. I did study in TV production, and then I worked in that. But when I moved to LA, I moved during the writer's strike. And so jobs were just not happening. So I ended up getting into sales.
What was that like in L.A.?
Oh.
Supplement sales. I bet that.
Do you have
was
a bottle of
riot.
wine? Because this could be a little bit. Oh my gosh. It's weird. When you see things on TV and you imagine what something's going to be like, you see pictures of like the Hollywood Hills and Rodeo Drive and this and that. And I always remember watching like movies when I was a kid and like, oh, I want to go there. It just seemed like such a happening place. And then you get there and it's,
I got played.
yeah, and I think younger too, like it's probably an ego thing. For me, I felt like I had to be there for the television industry. And now, obviously, so many things are digital. You can be in so many different cities. But the sad part is a lot of people go there for that fixation, for that dream to either make it in fitness and acting and modeling and whatever. And they're so fixated on that goal that they don't care what they're doing to get there. So unfortunately, I've learned the hard way of not trusting everybody. And, there is a stereotype there. But then you also find some really cool, eccentric people that, are just down to earth and just love the vibe of California. So there's all those different pockets, but very interesting. And yes, I have learned the hard way on how to go about things, because I'm very upfront, and what you see is what you get. And unfortunately, everyone's like that. So I, had to dig through some layers and learn the hard lessons.
I think when Yvonne and I went to LA, I'm trying to think, 3.5, or maybe 4 years ago, I think we went out there. And it was like, when we got out there, I'm like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that you see on TV, even the Hollywood sign. Like, you drive down the highway, you look over, you see the Hollywood sign, you're like,
Yeah, tiny.
that's it?
Yeah.
That's the big thing that everybody sees?
Yeah.
And, like, I make no mistake about it. It's not a secret or anything. I like watching The Housewives.
I'm not shocked that you said that, honestly.
Feel free.
Liked or religious about watching Housewives?
I mean,
you might have
listen,
seen all the different seasons.
I'm 42 and I have very high testosterone. You watch The Housewives and tell me you're not going to enjoy it. It's awesome. Anyway,
Oh,
I also
really,
like Vanderpump Rules. 20-something-year-old waitresses and nice cocktail dress. Yeah, I watch it. Anyway, we went to North
He's
Hollywood.
blushing.
Yeah, we went to North Hollywood, and I'm like, Yvonne, Sir is like right down the street. Like, let's go. So we were like all pumped up. We're like, yeah, we're going to go there and eat, have a drink. Thought maybe we might get a little cameo on a show or something. No, they were closed. But the funny thing was, this restaurant that they make a big deal about on Bravo, the store front, I shit you not, is like the size of this small room that we're sitting in. If you walked past it and didn't hang a left with your head and look at the sign, you would walk right past it and you'd never even see it. And it's in the middle of a neighborhood. And I'm like, they make a production of this. They make it seem like it's this massive, massive thing.
Spot.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
something else that we did like that too. I can't remember what it was, but like just going through like Orange County and all this stuff and seeing the stuff that you've seen on TV before, and you drive by it and you're like,
Yeah, it's not that. And it's really sad, too, because obviously what's going on in the world. But when I started going to Gold's, because I was out in Venice,
we went there.
I've been there.
and it was just really sad from the progression of how dirty it got.
Yeah.
You park your car outside, and if you could find a spot, but just the homelessness that's out in the back alley there, it got so bad that it's just really a shame to kind of see kind of the fall of all of that. But
They got like 10 parking spots at that gym.
yeah,
We went to Venice Beach, and it was kind of a shithole then when we went.
yeah.
Like, we were there, we were in the middle of the afternoon. I think it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And it was packed, but I mean, it was dirty.
The gym's gotten kind of dirty now, too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't really go there for the cleanliness. You go there for the vibe and,
Right.
and
Say that you've been
the
there.
culture.
Sure.
And I guess because I was there for so many years, like it was kind of a second home, and I appreciate it. But like even, like the beach. I mean, Venice has a lot of dirtiness there, but also because Santa Monica is its own city, so a lot of people are forced to go on to Venice. So that's why there's a lot of people living in the streets and on the beach there. But yeah, it's definitely not what you see in movies at all when you're there in person.
I was going to go somewhere with that, but I was going to go to the parties and stuff out in LA. I could only imagine the supplement industry, everybody hyped up on
Yes.
caffeine and stimulants.
I gotta imagine it was a lot of like just trying to stay new and relevant. I mean, when you're out there, the supplement industry was booming. BSN,
Yeah.
VPX, everybody was kind of coming up, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy because I mean, with all industries, but especially in specialty, you just see companies get so hot and then they just die out, And a lot of my friends work in the industry, and we all were different companies. And it's like, oh, who are you with this week? Because so many companies they weren't stable. They were growing for short term success and not longevity. So, I mean, you just few and far between brands actually really made it and made it long term.
Why do you think that is? And like, I know a ton of people in the supplement industry, and as big as it is, it's a very small world, if that makes sense. I do know that. And so the lesson that I've learned being in the business that we're in, we've never burned a bridge in that business, just never, because it is such a small world. And, you know, we've been friends with the guys at First Form. I've known those guys almost 20 years now. And so that's kind of why we work with them is just the products they put out, their customer service, and just the relationship that I've had with them. But there's other companies that I feel like have put out good stuff. They just don't stick around long. And I think it's because of what you said. They'll sell their soul to sell a product, and then it's gone. And then what?
Oh yeah, too. And you have to keep up with everything, whether it's, you know, innovation or the marketing. Obviously, the trend with social media and how everything is kind of boomed like that. If you're not keeping up, because a lot of that too is a younger generation, so you got to kind of keep up with the hype and have that culture. I worked for one company that was really big and really established when I first started, but because they didn't keep up with the times and change the packaging and attend certain events and network with the correct people, it faded. And it was a great product. So you just have to keep changing. And I think a lot of companies, whether it's in this industry and others, I feel like coming from this industry where there is a lot of ego involved in bodybuilding, and I feel like a lot of brands kind of grew in the sense of, you know, we are who we are, we have the names behind it, but they were building a company on short-term goals, you know, having that instant gratification instead of building a brand appropriately and not trying to do it overnight to have that long-term success.
No, I totally
and I've seen
agree.
that over and over.
I wonder, what do you think about, I was thinking about how to ask this without sounding like an idiot. But like,
Too late, we already got that. Yeah.
I'm going to tee him up for it the whole time. But you mentioned like different companies versus different products. And I feel like it's gotten to the point now, not necessarily with these, because I feel like these, you have a little bit of flexibility there. But like, I'm talking about supplements, protein powders, BCAAs, that sort of thing. What is left to come out with, for Christ's sake? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like starting a supplement company now, you might as well just take a couple $100,000 out in the parking lot and light it on fire.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, unless you have a fucking certain mission that you're going to try to accomplish with it outside of, like, the sports industry somewhere.
There is nothing new.
What are you going to do that somebody
Unless you
already
do
hasn't
like
done?
a pre intra workout, something in between there for like stage 2. But yeah, everything's kind of overdone. But I think I see a lot of products that they're just really great ingredients, and I think a lot of people are getting more into like the natural and not using artificial colors and dyes and sweeteners, and I think that's becoming a big trend. But it all comes down to the capital and the marketing. You know, if you're not getting that product and that target audience in their hand, you're missing the boat, because you're all right. It's so competitive now.
Some of the newest ones I think that have had success are just marketing towards like a female like clientele, like the whole like Alani Nu like type of thing. I don't even, is that their like full company name? Is it Alani Nu or something like that? But like all of their marketing is just dumped all towards pretty much to the female client. So like that's the only thing new.
That's why
you can
Don
do.
likes it so much. Yeah.
I mean, Axon Sledge, like
Absolutely.
you know, he's going towards majority of like the male clientele with that. So
Well, that's what I was sitting here thinking. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
that's the
the
only
answer
thing
to
that-
the question is marketing and what they're trying to sell, who they're trying to sell the product to, on
Right.
whether or not they're going to succeed. Because I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, I don't use anything else other than First Form. And if I used anything else, it would be Seth's stuff, because I know him.
Right.
I know what he stands for. I know what he puts in it. I know, I'm familiar with it. But if some random Joe Blow off the street started XYZ supplement company tomorrow, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough to do.
I mean, 10 years ago, you had a shot, but
Yeah, all you had to do is buy a booth at the Arnold and start giving out samples and let everybody know who you are. Mm-hmm. I don't think it works that way anymore. Maybe it does. I don't know. I've been so disconnected to the fitness industry in the last I quit competing in 2014, and I immediately just walked away. I don't keep up with the NPC, IFBB. I don't watch any of it. I couldn't tell you who's competing in the Arnold. I have no idea.
Did you competed in a bikini though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. I know, because yeah, that's a little challenging category. But wait, how many shows did you do? Like, how long did you compete for?
I started in 2009. How many shows? I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
I did okay. I mean, I think I got to the point where when I stepped on stage at a pro qualifier in Pittsburgh, that's when the light hit me, and I'm like, okay, for me to keep going down this road, I'm going to have to do more drugs than I'm comfortable doing to compete and to kind of try to tap my genetics out, that it just wasn't worth it to me at that point. And then it just happened to be timeline. That's right when her and I decided that we were franchising the brand, and I'm like, there's no effing way. No way do I even stand a shot at being competitive on a national level and trying to grow this company the way that we did. There's no way I would have been able to do it. So
Yeah, but at least you realize that, because a lot of people get so sucked in because it is addicting once you kind of
for
get into
sure.
it. And I have respect for people that do it and the discipline that goes into it. But yeah, there has to come a point where you have to decide what factors, what's more important, like your health, long term, money in the bank, businesses, stuff like that. So I know a lot of people that came to that crossroads as well and had to make that decision, because you got kind of get to a point where what are you going to do from it, so.
I think a lot of the nostalgia of the sport went away for me too, because that was right when Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff started to get really, really hot. And then you had, men's physique came along. Well, then that changed the sport completely. Any dickhead with a six-pack and a pair of board shorts and an Instagram account was instantly a national level competitor. And
Wait, how do you really feel about this topic?
I
though?
can
Don't sugarcoat.
listen. I got a lot of respect for people that do it. So if it sounds like I'm talking shit, I am. But I don't know.
But I say with all due respect.
Yeah.
Hey, everything's fine as long as you say all due respect,
Yeah.
Listen, I've talked to thousands of people in the last few years that are like, I've lost X amount of weight. I want to stand on stage and do a show. Fantastic. Fully support it. Where I kind of get in the back of my mind, I'm looking at him and I'm going, I don't know about this, brother. Is like these guys in the gym who I know are, they're running 3 grams of gear a week, enough to kill a horse, and they can barely win a local show, and they just keep doing it. And I'm like, okay, at some point, brother, you've got to look in the mirror and say, is what I'm doing okay now? Or, that's kind of where that's the decision I had to make. And I'm like, this ain't working no more. I got to stop.
Yeah, and it's sad too when you're kind of out in that environment, kind of going back to LA, Venice. I have a lot of friends that are competitors and still compete, but you do see the dark side of it, and I saw
For
the dark
sure.
side up close, and people choose it, but you get so sucked in, and at the end of the day, it's what's more important, your health or having that trophy, because there's really no money in it now, and so you have to really love it to keep continuing to do it, and especially females that kind of take it to that extent and risk having children or anything that has to do with health. But it's pretty scary what people do to kind of keep that sport going and alive, especially when they're not making money from it.
Females was a big thing for me when we moved here. I didn't start that sentence out that way.
Okay.
What you just tapped into on the females using supplementation and things like that. When we moved here, where we came from, women competed. It was big. It was just as big there as it was here. I think the difference is the people that I was surrounding myself with back in St. Louis, and then I move out here and I saw some of the things that like prep coaches and guys were giving to women to do out here, and I'm like, it blew me out of my chair backwards, and I'm like, are you shitting me? You're really doing that? Like, where we come from, that was like a big no-no. Women just didn't do it that way, basically,
Right.
if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And so I had a few women reach out to me and ask me for help, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm really qualified to do that, but I know enough that if I don't know something, I know who I can go to help me do it. And I did that so that somebody didn't grab a hold of them and really fuck them up for the rest of their life. unfortunately, didn't matter. When I was done, they went to somebody else and they did it anyway. But it's scary.
And when you're kind of young and naive and in that, like, you're literally taking directions from somebody that does not have the education or, to be giving you certain protocols. But sadly, they don't know, and they're just after looking good on stage and winning that first place. But there's a lot of people that do that. And it all comes down, a lot of money involved too, and who's coaching who and placement. But yeah, I know a lot of females that were competing at high levels, and they're still struggling to get their metabolism and everything kind of back to normal because it got so messed up.
My wife's one of them. She did some stuff when she was competing. I mean, she's not shy about it. She'll talk about it. But it took her a long time to kind of reverse her hormones and everything else and get it back to where it was regulated and normalized and things like that. That's why when females ask me about that, I'm like, run fast.
and it's really big too, the hormone category. I mean, that in itself is already hard and challenging as it is with or without competing. That, I mean, just with how food is these days and mass produced, like, I know so many people, hormones are just not balanced, and that what also causes people going, in circles around in the gym. And so it's such a fine line because it's something that's not tangible, that you can't touch or feel. So a lot of people don't know what's wrong with them. But I struggle with the hormone thing until I actually found a doctor in LA that helped me after I was competing and doing a hardcore dieting. It took me a few years to kind of get my body back and regulated.
I'm in that boat. I got to take a TRT the rest of my life now because of all
Shot
of
it.
Mm-hmm. If I didn't do that, I would be a zombie.
Moody.
I would have the hormones of a 12-year-old
moody
girl.
son of a bitch.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Even more of a dick,
Pretty much.
I'll own it.
Like it.
How long did you compete?
How long ago or how?
Well, both.
Well,
You're going to age yourself, Brett.
I know. Do you also want to ask me my weight too? No.
I bet I can guess within 5.
I don't even know the weight, but let's see, the last time I competed was 2012. And then I just was doing shoots after that. But, for me, I guess because I always struggled with my weight when I was in my 20s, like I used to go up and down like 30, 40 pounds. For me, it was just kind of one of those things I just wanted to do just to prove to myself that I could do it, that I could have that discipline to get on stage, in a swimsuit in front of people. And I almost backed out a couple of times, but it was the journey and the discipline that I really enjoyed. Not something long term, obviously, but I just needed to do it for myself, kind of like a check mark off the list. And after that, I was done. It just wasn't for me. I didn't really get that urge to go back on stage. I just didn't really enjoy it the way I thought, I might as some of my friends, but it was like done after that. And then it took me 3 years to get my hormones back to normal.
Which was
Yeah.
fun, I'm sure.
Yeah. But it is a great learning experience where you can actually connect and learn about your body, because I think a lot of people don't know
That's a fact.
certain things. Like, it really connects you, because I've always been a disciplined person where I like to get up and go to the gym at like 5 in the morning and be on my certain routine. So I've always been like that. But having that discipline with the food, one, obviously it's very challenging. It's more challenging mentally than I think physically. The training part was easy. It was the mental struggles. But when you get so fine-tuned down to the point where your body is so precise and cleaned out, like, I noticed certain things that my body was sensitive to that I never knew before, because I had so many other things in my body, food-wise, or, drinks, or, supplements. So I really learned, like, man, like, if my body's as sensitive to this now, like something simple like oatmeal, helped me discover more sensitivities and food allergies that I had that I didn't really know. So it kind of helped me modify what I take in, because not all superfoods are super for everybody.
Sure.
Everybody reacts differently. And so that helped me learn that for sure.
I talk about that a lot, especially with Mike V. Mike Valentino used to own a lot of Gold's gyms here. He's a good friend of mine. Used to be the NPC chairman for North Carolina. And we always talk about, and he was an IFBB Olympian. And we always talk about the things that we took from bodybuilding that transition into business. There's a ton of them when it comes to discipline and the things that you take out of that sport and you use it within your business. There's a lot of them, and the discipline part of it's a lot of it. And then kind of just knowing your body, like you said. And I talk to him about this all the time because he'll bust my balls about the way that I eat, and I'm like, listen, man, I'm eating like an asshole right now, but I know well enough that I can just flip a switch like that and change it, and I know how my body's going to react to it. So where I fall into it is I get in a bad spot sometimes where I just, my give a shit is busted. And I'm like, I don't really care at this point. You know what I mean? Like I dieted this way for so many years. I get to the point where like, I don't even care. I'm not dieting and I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And then I'll just wake up one morning and I'm like, I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, it's time to tighten it up, bud.
Yeah.
And then I'll go 30 days eating really, really clean and kind of, I can watch my body change and manipulate it a little bit. But I don't think if I wouldn't have competed, that's hard for the average person to do.
Oh, for sure. I mean, just kind of going back to when I was, in my 20s, which was like, 2 years ago. Yeah. That the things that I thought had to be so extreme in order to be successful with like weight loss or maintaining, because I really struggled with my weight. I was a big emotional eater. Secretly, I would always be training, but I just struggled with the food. I just had this attachment because that was like my go-to. And I just didn't know how to be balanced. Everything was so extreme. It was feast or famine. If I missed a certain meal, I felt like I failed. So then I just, fuck it, I'll just eat a bunch of whatever and I'll start tomorrow. But that cycle would keep going. And so to your point, the bodybuilding lifestyle really taught me that balance that, I can eat multiple times a day and listen to my body and kind of keep that. But I didn't know how to do that until after, I went through some of that training and discipline. And everything comes down to balance now. But kind of like what you're saying, like now it's just, okay, if I don't eat a certain way throughout a week, like I'm fine because I just know, like I know how to balance it out. And I think that just comes with time and kind of learning your body and knowing what I cannot do now in the gym because I've had so many injuries and I just can't push myself. But you know what? To me, it's listening to your body and it's the lifestyle. So I just eat healthy. I don't eat restrictively. If I want to go out and have some nachos, which I love nachos, I'll have that on the weekend or have a glass of wine. Like, it's fine. Instead of feeling like, oh, I can't eat anything that's not, boiled chicken and rice. And
Right.
also I'm going to put on all this weight. The more, or the less that I thought about it, the more success I had. And so I kind of had to get away from all that restrictive, the hardcore dieting thing. But it did teach me the base of having the lifestyle of kind of eating throughout the day and just having that balance, which I think balance is the biggest struggle for so many people.
I go through the exact same thing, the exact same mindset. And I wonder, you and I joke about this all the time. Do you ever wonder what you could do right now if you started a diet and tried to compete again? And the reason I ask myself that is because I think my body has just gotten so used to eating the way that I have, which, again, I'll eat like an asshole, and these guys have seen it. But I can also regulate it out. And, I mean, my body will sit between, like, 205 to 210 right now. And it hasn't changed in 6 years. Literally has not changed. I can get a little leaner when I want to, and then, you know what I mean? Like, I think my body's just gotten so used to being in that state that I'm like, I wonder, now that I'm not, like you said, now that I'm not thinking about it, I'm not overthinking about it, if I could still pull one off.
So what you're trying to tell us is that you're competing in a couple months.
Absolutely
And we
not.
should
I
watch
tried
your
to-
progress pics.
Absolutely.
I tried to start a rumor about that a few.
And it actually
few months
worked.
about.
Yeah, my phone went off like 15 times.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. If you were to compete, what division do you think you would do?
Bikini.
Men's physique.
No.
Men's bikini? Yeah.
I don't know.
The
I'd
class,
probably
the
have
classic,
to do,
the new thing.
I don't know if I could even make it down to a welterweight again, because that's 174. I would look like a skeleton, but I don't think I'm big enough to compete.
The classic division, I mean, has great symmetry and look to it.
It's that
I
new-
may
it's
be able to
new
pull that
new.
off. I think I'm too short, though. So you know how they did the height requirement with the weight? I don't think I'd make it.
Just wear your high heels, borrow Yvonne's.
I could do that.
But
Some shows let you wear costumes in that division, I think. I don't know. How did we go down a 30-minute rabbit hole about bodybuilding?
Because that's what always happens.
you relate.
You said you had some interesting topics you wanted to talk
Yeah,
about.
talk to us about.
Well, I put my list over there, but we were kind of going to some of those with hormones, but kind of like going into like the meals and everything like that. I see so many. Obviously, you guys see it too. So many different
Meal plan
types-
companies?
No, well, I mean, those have grown quite a bit, but just with the different types of diets, I mean, I talked to so many people. When I was driving out here, I had a friend that was, she's trying to like lose weight and get in shape, and she was just talking about, well, I'm gonna do the keto and do this and this and this, and she was known for, I've known her since she was, in her 20s and just doing that extreme dieting and then, yeah. So I see all these trends with these different diets, but one thing that I actually have been doing more research on, more on a longevity, anti-aging, since, that now when you kind of get into your 40s, that I'm more focused on the inner health instead of outward appearance. So some of these like anti-aging methods, like intermittent fasting and stuff like that, I've been more fascinated with that and learning about rejuvenation of your cells and just kind of giving your body breaks. I don't know. Have you ever tried anything like that?
Oh, yeah.
Doing that?
Yeah.
What kind of fast do you do?
I don't now. I'm not doing it.
Don struggles with that one. We've talked about
I can
that.
do it. I just don't really like it. It works for me, which is stupid, I know, because I know that it works and I don't do it. But one of the reasons that I don't like to do it is because of what you said. So I don't like a lot of the same supplements that I used to take when I was just going down and banging weights out and trying to get as big as I fucking can. Like, I don't do a lot of those supplements anymore. Like the BCAAs, and I'm talking like the over-the-counter stuff. Like, it's not if you looked in my cabinet, it does look like a medicine cabinet, but it's changed.
Yeah, yours
A lot of them are
health and
wellness
yeah.
supplements now, like an omega-3. I take zinc, magnesium, like all of like a 3-pack vitamin day, probiotics, things like that. And so it's hard for me to do that in the morning on an empty stomach because they make me nauseous. So like I'll get up and I usually train around 7. Yvonne and I, our coffee time is, nobody fucks with that. 6 to 7 is coffee time. I don't do anything. And then I'll go down and I'll train. And then when I come up, I'll usually have a protein shake. And that's when I like to take those vitamins. So the fasting thing for me is hard because of that mainly. But it does work. I like that one. The rest of the diet trends are horseshit. I don't like them.
Yeah,
I just think they're not sustainable. The keto, if you do real keto, like and not just the trendy one, I think it works. I just don't think it's good to do long term. I mean, unless it's a medical condition that you have to. I just think it's very hard for somebody to mentally stay on that diet for a long time.
I only met 2 people, and they were both dudes that actually performed and did keto properly and like had longevity with it. And they were both single bachelors that could go get cheeseburgers and throw the buns away. And, they had disposable income just to do things like that, just to find fats and proteins and things of that nature.
I mean, in all honesty,
only 2 people I've ever seen make it work.
In all honesty, that's why we market Clean Eats the way that we do. I mean, we do not market to any sort of diet trend. It's always portion control and a balanced nutrition. That's the way we've always done it, and we always will. I mean, do we have the capability to do those things for customers customized? Absolutely, and we tell them that. Like, hey, if you want a customized keto diet, we can do it. We just don't, like, when it comes to our weekly meal plans and our cafe menu, we do not market to that. It's a balanced carb, fat, and protein ratio, and it's all portion control.
How do you describe Clean Eats now that you've been in a few different locations, like to like a friend, like, or something like that?
Well, delicious, because actually I've been telling you guys ever since I moved to Atlanta, the
around
closest
them.
one was Columbus. But I love it just for that exact same reason. from going through all the years of doing those extreme diets, and I know that that's just not what works for me. I can't do any of the extreme stuff. So like the keto, I get really sick. I'm very sensitive with my stomach as well. So like I can't. I would get so nauseous when I try to do like fasted cardio in the morning and I'd have anything else in my stomach. I would just get sick. And so finally I'm like, why am I forcing myself to do that? So
Right.
that's what I also like is having, if you can't do something long term, then I don't feel like you should be doing it. It was a hard lesson to learn, but I think exactly that, having that balance of the macros is great because you never feel deprived, And I also think eating intuitively, but I was really excited. So when the Clean Eats opened near me, I go there every weekend and go
Nice.
get my black bean burger. But I also wish the smoked salmon sliders were a permanent menu item because that was my thing.
Talk to Yvonne.
Well, she's right out there. You can tell her when you're done.
I know, because I like fish. I'm not a big meat eater, so I'm horrible at cooking fish unless I can put it in the air fryer and have it taste okay. So I
You
usually
teed
buy
that
it when
one
I'm
right
out.
up and I missed it. I'm sorry.
I know, right? The meat part or the fish part?
No, I'm not going to say it.
So yeah, so I think the whole balance is great. But my stomach, I think it was from the years of I literally would take pre-workout because I was so worried about having too much fluid in my stomach before a shoot or, whatever. And I would just take it down dry. And so I'm so sensitive now to anything that's too acidic. So I have to watch.
People don't realize that that's
I'm waiting for him to say something. Go on.
You're good. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm just going to fix my makeup.
I didn't know you like to take them down dry. So
Yeah. You know me, I'm hardcore. I'm just trying to be like you when I grow up. So yeah. So sensitive stomach. My body's sensitive now. Like training, I used to train very hard with my trainer on Venice, and it was that ego thing. And now it's like, man, I'm lucky if I weight train like maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm doing like a quarter of the weight that I used to do. I just can't. My joints would ache, my hip. Girl, I've had so many injuries. It's bad.
wow.
Yeah. But you know what? When I get to be your age, though, I should be prepared. Wait,
you'll be ready.
When's your birthday?
August 21st.
Oh, that's right. He is older than me.
You just had it.
I get the same thing. I recently, and it just took me until now, and I'm talking a month or so ago. I think when I started training for that try that I committed to and I had to back out for undisclosed reasons, that I had that in my mindset from competing that I had to train a certain way. Like if I didn't do a weight session and a cardio session in the same day, I was like beating myself up over it. And I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? I'm not competing anymore. I wouldn't say that I don't have a competitive edge anymore. I do. It's just that I don't care whether I do that shit anymore or not. And a lot of my friends, if they heard me say that, they'd be like, well, you're just being a pussy about it. No, I just don't care anymore. I don't have to do fasted cardio, go to work all day, come home, and then bang out a weight session in the evening. I just don't have to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And then my body just doesn't respond to it either. So why am I forcing myself to do this? And it's the same way with eating, like you said. I used to be in that mindset where I thought I had to do this certain thing, and I don't have to do it anymore. I think people get stuck in that rut sometimes, too. You do. You just don't realize you do.
But, see, here we go. Be nice to Ben.
He's the type of guy, though, if he misses a weight, it'll drive him fucking bonkers. If he doesn't get to work out one day and he has to miss a workout, the world is going to end.
You know what? I'm totally not judging you. I mean, secretly I'm judging you. But no, I'm not judging you because I was the same way when I was younger.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think it has to come with age and kind of time. One, I think you kind of build a base. But also, two, you realize what life is about. And me personally, I felt like I was a slave to the gym and a slave to my diet.
Yes.
And I just wasn't enjoying life because I didn't think I could do both. So it took me a long time to kind of figure that out where I have that balance where, okay, now I can actually enjoy life and not feel guilty because I missed, morning cardio or whatever. So I think it's just time, age, and kind of just learning what works best for your body.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it a little bit. My journey just started differently. I was a runner, soccer player, whole life. So I went to a school where we didn't have a strength coach and we didn't have a weightlifting program, and I didn't go to even to a high school where like a weightlifting class was like prominent. It just wasn't there like in Florida. So I never had it like growing up, kind of like as you did, like leaving into that carpentry like phase of your life, which was your college in a sense. And it's like you started lifting weights because you're like, yeah, look better, feel better, pick up chicks, things like that. Like, so mine didn't even start till like after college. So yeah,
Everybody's
late to the party.
So you were a runner
Yeah, I played soccer my whole life.
on soccer, and you were a cheerleader.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn, yes, Scott.
Yeah.
Scott,
See, everybody-
jump on, Scott. Jump in there.
Everybody has their own fitness journey. So I mean, whatever you feel like you need to do, like whatever your goals, because everybody has different goals too. I have female friends that want to put on muscle, and they're scared they're gonna get too big, and so they do certain things. I have guys that are trying to drop weight. So I think it's just important just be happy,
No
just be
doubt.
healthy. You know, being healthy is cool. I used to think that looking a certain way from looking at like my Monica brand on the magazines and all that, like
Monica. Where's she at right now?
she's in Texas now.
She was hot.
Beautiful. She had great symmetry, great physique. So that was like, she was like my fitness idol kind of growing up. But
She had great something else too, both of them.
earmuffs been.
She was one of my favorites.
Bringing back the old school
Competitors these
old
days
school
wouldn't even know who
magazines.
Monica Brandt was if you told her.
Jamie
Told 'em.
Eason.
Oh my gosh, Jamie Eason. I had the Jamie Eason haircut.
You had a bob.
You had the bob?
Oh, I had the bob.
I could totally see it.
I did. And it was cool at the time, I guess. It looked okay, but I guess it depends on the shape of the face, because that's when my weight was going up and down, and so when I put on weight, my face was this big and my hair was like this big, and then I was trying to, the in between stage, I was going through a breakup too, and when Rihanna was doing the short buzz thing on the
yeah.
side, so I had the Jamie Eason thing, and then I buzzed the whole side,
Oh, wow.
and I had that.
Super aggressive.
And then my hormones were all off, so like, let's just say it was not a pretty look for me. But the hardest part was growing that out. So at one point, I actually got extensions put on the side of my head just because my hair was so uneven. Because you have to let it grow out so it's even, then it can start growing down.
yeah,
never
our
again.
our friend Jen had that same haircut.
I had a debate. I don't even remember who this was with.
The voices in your head.
I don't
sure,
remember
yeah.
if I won, but I'm pretty sure my personality, I'm pretty sure I won this debate. But do you know who I believe started that whole trend?
The half shaved head.
You'll never
Should I
guess
know?
it.
Was it a
Okay.
rocker?
She may know who she is, but if I say her name, but I don't think you guys may.
Give me a hint.
Christy Mack.
That's the hint?
That's her name.
Oh.
I don't think
Nope.
I know her.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, you're
You do.
Asian,
You're
so-
shaking your head. I was shocked. No,
Should I know who Christy Mack is?
very popular porn star.
Uh,
Yeah. She was like the first one I ever saw do that, but it was like long before most women were doing it.
Where did you see that now?
It was some website. I don't know what it's called.
this is pre-Jenna Jameson era?
No, she was post. Jenna Jameson is like the goat.
Gosh, I know. Old school.
Yeah. I don't watch that stuff. It's bad for you.
I know, Ben. Stop polluting our minds. He's such a
Pam's
bad
gonna-
influence on
Pam's
us.
gonna listen to this, Don. Change the subject.
Sorry, Pam.
So Christy Mack, okay, yeah. So moral of the story: don't cut your hair like that unless you're prepared to like have 5 years to grow it out.
Damn.
Some of my old like photo shoots I had, my hair was like that. It looked cool for the photos, I guess. And then after that, I was like,
It was a pretty big trend for a while.
Yeah.
There was a lot of girls doing it. Some could pull it off, and it was good.
yeah,
And then you'd see some, and you're like, "Ooh,
yeah,
don't do that."
yeah. I was one of those. Not so much. But Jamie Eason, man, she looked adorable with it.
She's actually a sweetheart.
Yeah,
I think I met her 4 or 5 times at just different events, and she was always so sweet.
yeah.
Like you would see her at like bodybuilding.com booths at a show or something, and she would literally stand there and sign everybody's autograph, and the line was like a mile long just to meet her. She did it, and she was just sweet. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's married and has kids now, right?
Oh yeah. I don't even. Wasn't she married to that rock star? She married a guy that was in a popular rock band for a while. I don't know if they're...
Oh, that's right. I don't think it's the same. I don't follow the trends. I'm too busy watching Orange County Housewives like you.
There you go.
Actually, I don't watch that. You know what my favorite show is?
On Bravo?
No, in general.
Suspense is killing me.
This is where I learned sarcasm at a very young age. It's probably before your time. And still a classic. And I own coffee mugs, T-shirts, bags.
Oh my gosh, groupie. What is the show?
Here's a clue. It was based in Miami, Florida.
Based in Miami, Florida.
You should know this because you're a part of my age group.
When did it run?
In the 80s. It used to be on Wednesday night.
Miami Vice?
No, close. It was on Wednesday. That's also a good classic one too. But it was on Wednesday nights after Growing
Magnum
Pains.
PI.
No, remember Wednesday nights? It was Growing Pains and then this show.
Girl, I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday.
I know,
You're
it's
asking
true.
me.
Such a dude.
What show?
Golden Girls.
Oh my gosh.
I was not picturing that.
Yeah.
To come out.
Throwback.
Really? What were you thinking?
I was thinking like Knight Rider, Magnum PI.
Yeah, no.
What was the helicopter one? In the 80s.
Remember Sledgehammer?
I do.
Remember Sledgehammer, Miami Vice, but no Golden Girls.
Not ER.
Oh my
what was
gosh.
it?
ER was late 90s.
Yeah.
What was the yeah. Anyways, old shows.
Golden Girls, Seinfeld, and Murder Mysteries.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, let's talk energy drinks, man.
Oh yeah, energy drinks.
These hydros.
Are they do you believe that they're bad for you?
Do I believe that they're bad?
Do you think they're bad or are they okay in moderation? Because my wife thinks that they're going to give me a heart attack.
You know, I think it just depends on everyone's body. Like in caffeine count. So it makes these different. So there's a lot of energy drinks out there and a lot of
As she strokes the can.
as my my elevator pitch.
Stripping, too.
But I know, getting excited. No, so but in reality, even from working in the industry for the past 12, 13 years, and knowing what goes into formulation and products, there are a lot of products out there that one you could have like a 25 to 35% room of error on your label, and so a lot of companies would put incorrect or not put everything up. So
remind me to tell you about. I'm gonna follow that up with something. Go ahead.
okay, so there are a lot of products. Like I've had sips of some other drinks and instantly I get a headache or I don't feel right. Like I'll know if something's not good for my body. But what I love about Rain is that with all those drinks that are out there, with all artificial, they don't have artificial like caffeine. So I think that's a big thing. A lot of companies, because it's inexpensive, they'll use caffeine anhydrous and use the cheaper grade caffeine, which your body doesn't know how to metabolize.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're going to have all these weird reactions, or they'll start putting all these other different ingredients there to make it seem hardcore, and just that combination is just not a good combination. So I think it just comes down to the person and how your body feels, and I think everything in moderation. Obviously, if you have 5 of any energy drink, that's not going to be good for your body. But then I know people that drink like 2 pots of coffee a day, so I think everything just kind of have it balanced out, but also kind of choosing your products and what feels good. Like you'll know if something's not feeling good for you. But with this, they actually use green coffee bean. So it is a natural caffeine. I know it looks hardcore. And also keeping hydrated too. You got to balance out your electrolytes and hydration when you're drinking any kind of caffeine. So, does that help answer your question?
No doubt. I've loved them since I've started using them. I actually use a Rain as a pre-workout. Now, so like I've moved away from like dry scooping,
Mm-hmm.
C4, things of that nature back in the day, to just using a basic energy drink. But I don't really finish it necessarily like prior to the workout. I kind of use it along the way to add caffeine.
Right. Do you work out AM or PM?
AM. Yeah, fasted in the morning. Yeah.
Wow,
but
you must have a strong stomach.
He's
to
a
do that.
psycho.
Yeah. That works for me. It works.
Don't beat around
I
the
think the
bush.
stimulant that you talked about is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I know for me, and I'm sure other people feel it, and probably you too, because we do the same thing. The the stimulant that's in it makes a huge difference in like what you can tolerate. Like if I sat here and I opened that can, I drank that whole thing, I'd be tanked. Like it would just, my eyes would get real cloudy. I'd get a headache. It would really overstimulate me.
That's just all the
Even if I
cocaine you were
didn't
doing
have
last
any.
night. Wait, so is it because of the caffeine, or is it also, does the carbonation have an effect on you?
No, I think it's just the caffeine.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird because, like I said, I can take 200 milligrams of caffeine in a pill or in coffee.
Yeah, same thing.
Or a green coffee bean. But if I were to drink the artificial caffeine, I will be in the emergency room because I'll feel like I'm having a panic attack. And also too, like even with green tea, it's crazy. Green tea, if I drink too much of it, like I start having palpitations and my heart's fluttering, because it took me a long time to understand this for my body as well. I guess he feels my pain too over there.
It's raining.
Oh.
If you hear that static, that's a thunderstorm.
Oh, I thought you were just trying to slowly tune me out because I was boring you. No, so green tea. Green tea is a longer extended caffeine. So I learned the hard way of drinking something that was made with green tea, or even just the plain green tea at like 2 p.m, and then I'm wide awake at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and my heart is racing. I'm like, what?
I thought it was just healthy for you.
I didn't do anything. Yeah, I mean, I know it has its benefits, but for me, green tea is not the caffeine for me. I need something that's gonna kind of make me more alert right at that moment as I'm drinking it, and I can control it. So that's why I like to drink my caffeine than taking, fat burners or whatever. Like I have to, to me, it's the whole control thing, because I've been in the emergency room one too many times because I thought I was having a panic attack.
So educate us, like what is another energy drink on the market right now that has a fake caffeine? I mean, not to throw anybody on the bus, but I've never really heard about that. So is there another popular one out there that people don't understand?
There's quite a few. And the
gas station ones, like ones that are
go down the list.
Yeah,
go down the list. Call some people out.
And it just to each their own. Like everybody has their thing. I think that's kind of going back to the marketing thing. It has to do with that, but also too how something makes you feel. So some people are fine on it. Like my friend can take a fat burner, drink 2 energy drinks, and go to sleep after that. Like she's fine. But for me, if I did a quarter of that, I literally be having a panic attack.
So is there a way for somebody, like if they walked into the gas station, wanted to buy an energy drink, to figure out if it was natural caffeine or artificial caffeine?
I mean, they would have to do the research. Sometimes there's a lot of feature and benefit call out points that they'll put like on the cooler. But most people just kind of go in and grab what looks pretty. Like the majority of people don't know, unless you are or that small percentage of people that know like going in, okay, that's half the caffeine of an energy drink and has more hydration, it's non-carbonated, like that works better for you, like unless you already previously know. So that's why we try to do that with our marketing, our education, and with our athletes.
Cool.
So people know the benefits and what makes Reign different compared
is
to
a Monster
other
the same,
brands.
or is a Reign a little bit different?
Monster, Green Monster, the original one, that's different, and obviously that has a different macro profile, so that's going to have more sugar and carbs. So Reign was made more for fitness and specialty, so it's going to have all those call outs with the aminos, the CoQ10, all that stuff. So
cool.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said a minute ago, because I think it's important that everybody understands this and realizes it. We deal with this on the food side daily. Mm-hmm. We get emails about it daily, and that is what you said about the percentage allowance that you're allowed through the FDA. On our side, it's the USDA, and we deal with FDA on errors in macros and what we list as what the numbers are. That's a big, huge thing that most consumers, they don't even know. They're just so oblivious to it, and they should, it's something, not everybody's going to know it, so I'm not bagging on them for it, but, we get emails every day like, hey, your macros are off. Well, they're probably off because we had to substitute a product that we couldn't get. And so therefore, we had to change the macros on that meal a little bit. Therefore, it's going to be off 10%, 12%, 13%, whatever. You would be amazed at how many people email us about that. I don't know if you guys deal with that on the RTD side or in the prepackaged drink game, but I know on the food side for us, that's a huge thing. And it's just, I wish that there was a way to educate consumers more on that regulation. On food labeling, period, is a crock of shit that I wish.
Talked about that a bunch.
I wish people could get more education on that. It was easier to understand these things.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that goes with everything, package label, even coming down to whether it's a nutrition facts or supplement facts. A lot of people don't know the difference with that, but a lot of things too, kind of going with, having to change certain products and raw material. Like even now in the industry, a lot of people are complaining about not being able to get products.
Absolutely.
And it comes down to everything that's going down in the world, but a lot of people can't get products because the shortage of raw materials right now, aluminum cans. So so that's going around. So we're getting a lot of, questions and people asking about that, and a lot of that's out of our control. But it's going down to people who are the whole staffing, epidemic right now.
I agree. Well, this is a good place to cut this off.
It's a good deal.
I'm getting text from the other room that we have a meeting that we have to.
Oh, you're very important.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for
This
everything
is
you do
gonna
for our people too. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I'm very excited for this weekend. It should be a great event.
I was going to say all of our owners, I think, are pretty excited to meet you because they get to work with you on a daily basis. And
Yes, I've gotten to meet quite a few of them. And
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
But I have to say, and I think I was telling you this before, and in all honesty too, because just from working with chains and groups for over the years, every single franchise owner that I have met so far, I always walk away like, man, they were really great people. And I forgot who I was talking to, someone else outside of Clean Eats, and they said, yeah, I think it was one of the franchise owners. They were just saying, we kind of had to pass the Don's approval, you know what I mean? And I think that speaks a lot about how you're growing your business, about quality, because it isn't just like, some Joe Schmo that, it comes down to money. It's like, no, you want people that are good people, that or someone that I'll be like friends with at the end of the day, that really care about their business, and it really shows. So everybody I've met has been super cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
We've gotten a few wrong. I mean, they're no longer with us, but I mean, it's tough. Those are hard decisions to make. But we got a really good group of franchise partners in our brand. I'm excited to see them all this weekend. It's been a long time since we've been able to get them all together in the same place and hang out and shoot the shit. So
I think one more shout out to like Brett. I think the thing that I love about working with you is that you're not just trying to like sell our people products. You're like, I'm here to help you. If you guys want to supply more like in your cafe, then you can. But I feel like so many people in like your industry get a bad rep of like they're just trying to hammer down like buy my product, and you take a completely different approach of like, hey, I'm gonna come eat your food and hang out, and then just tell you who, then just tell you who we are.
No, and
and then from there, we'll whatever you want to do.
No, and thank you. And the thing is, like, I don't come from like, technically I'm a salesperson, but I'm not a salesperson. I'm a people person. Like my family, my aunt, my uncle, my dad, my sister, my mom, everyone has their own businesses, and so to me, I'm just here to help. It's just like, what can I do to help make you more money and to educate your customers, and something that will kind of make things kind of pop. Like, I view it like that. I don't view it as like, hey, I'm trying to sell it. Because you know what? This might work for your market, and it might not work at all. No hard feelings. This product from another brand might work better for you. So to me, I just, at the end of the day, I just have to know that I have to put my head down and pillow and know that I'm just doing everything morally. And I just like to help people. And
I love it.
And dogs. So thanks. Thanks, Big Ben.
I like it.
Yeah.
all right, guys. Until next time.